Welcome to another live episode of the Eric Crocker Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back. And of course, today we are discussing all things pertaining to the 49ers and their matchup tonight. Man, football here in the middle of the week for the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Giants as 10.5 point favorites. Is that too much? Is that too little? We're going to talk about that. Who are the New York Giants? Are they for real? They got blown out by the Cowboys. They had a comeback win against the Cardinals. What can the 49ers kind of anticipate? We're going to discuss all those things and more. Of course. I think for me, anytime I have an opportunity to watch football, like I'm just excited in general. And I just realized, right, because my daughter's mom, I have two daughters. My daughter Shane, her mom was like, "Hey, your daughter, she's out of school for the week of October 2nd. She was like, she could stay with you." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm thinking like October 2nd, like I have a DB workout October 2nd. I'm thinking it's a Wednesday. October 2nd is a Monday. So I'm not excited about that because I'm going to be missing Monday Night Football. And I don't like to miss any football. I talk to y'all all the time about, I'll discuss like, oh, nah, like, I'm a football fan before anything. And I really mean that. Like, I love watching football. And I'm so upset that Monday night game, whoever's playing, I don't even care who it is. Like, if there's football on, I'm watching it. I'm going to be missing a game to work with some kids. Now, that part is fun, but it's a free workout that I'm doing at Elevate 209 in Stockton. So if any of y'all, in the Valley, any of y'all in the 209, any of y'all in Stockton, man, come slide through, bring your kid through, and we're going to get some good DB work in. You feel me? Cameraman going to be there, all that, so it's going to be real cool, real fun. Of course, this show is always brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and you can download the app or go to Underdog Fantasy right now. When you use promo code Crocky, they will not only double your deposit up to $100. They are right now for I think the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They are doubling your deposit up to $500. So, what does that mean? If you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, you use promo code Crocky, which a lot of y'all are. I think I almost got damn near 100 signups this month. All right, but you use promo code Crocky, they will double your deposit. If you deposit $200, like they will match that and put $200 in there. And I'm having a great time. We came up a lot of money last week on Underdog Fantasy, and now they just added the Pepper Picks. So it just increases the money you can make by, a lot. All right. So that's a whole different thing. We'll get into that on the Twitter timeline. I know y'all didn't come here for that. But if you are into all the player props and all that stuff, make sure you use Underdog Fantasy promo code Crocky. That's CROCKY. We got Mike in the chat. Just signed up for Underdog with the code word Crocky. Let's go. And got my $100 bonus. Let's go. Got some picks on an. I got picks. We'll get into that in a little bit. And of course, y'all know, usually we do this on Friday. I'm going to try to get y'all money early. So we're going to do the giveaway today. We're not waiting until tomorrow. We're going to do the giveaway today. All right. So $50 giveaway. I might pick 2 people. I don't know. All right. You want $50. You got Underdog Fantasy. Again, download the app, use promo code Crocky, and I'm going to give y'all some free money today. Let's go. Underdog Fantasy makes everything funner for real watching the game. We got Gammon in the chat. We got a lot of y'all in the chat, man. Let's go. Everybody's starting to filter in right now. How many games does prime times teams win this year? What? Oh, Dion. So you got to put that apostrophe. How many games does Dion win? I would say 7. 7 out of what? The 11 or 12. So I think they go to a bowl game. All right. With the bowl game, they might win 8. I can see that. I'm here for Underdog Fantasy. Good cheddar so far. Let's go. And if you're subscribed to my actual Twitter account, I have a Twitter thing, and then you can subscribe on there. That's where I'm giving my picks and my things like that. The timeline, they'll get the picks after I hit. When I hit, they get that. But y'all, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? The subscribers on Twitter X, you get the picks ahead of time. Everything that I'm doing, all the plays. All right, let's talk some San Francisco 49er football against the New York Giants. I am excited about this game because, again, I just love football. But I think there's some interesting matchups here. First, you got to start off. 49ers are favored by 10.5 points. So Vegas does not think that this game is going to be necessarily close. The reasons why, let's talk about why it would not be close. The 49ers offense has been extremely difficult to stop. Matter of fact, when the 49ers go 3-and-out or they don't get first downs on the drive, like I'm shocked. I'm shocked. It's actually it's very rare that I feel like it happens the way that it does. When I say rare, I mean just last game they were like, oh man, 3-and-out. That's the first 3-and-out of the year for the 49ers. Right? And I was like, damn. But it feels like every time the 49ers drive, and that's why on Underdog Fantasy, I'm always playing the kicker, the rookie, Jake Moody, Money Moody. I'm always playing the higher on his props, which is usually 1.5 field goals kicks made, because the 49ers are always in position to score. So with Moody on Underdog Fantasy, I'm either doing his field goals, which if he makes 2, boom, you're good, or his points, which the 49ers put up so many points. If he gets 1 field goal and the 49ers score 3 more touchdowns, like you're good. You know what I'm saying? With his points as well. So the 49ers are always in position to score. How can a New York Giants team without Saquon Barkley keep up with the 49ers? And I think that's going to be one of the keys to me to continue to watch on this. What kind of run game do they rely on? Now, they have Matt Breida out there today. And he is, I believe, is going to be their main guy. You know, he's a guy that, ran for them last year. At times kind of ran well, but never had like a big role. So I have no idea how they're going to utilize him. When Saquon Barkley got hurt last game, during that game, the Giants were down. All right. And they were down big to the Cardinals. So knowing how much they were down, is like, okay, we got to throw our way back into this game. Daniel Jones had an amazing second half, threw for over 250 yards, ran for another 50 yards, multiple touchdowns, 0 turnovers. So they didn't really rely on the run game because they were behind. Matt Breida, how active is he tonight? And when I say active, I just mean in the run game with them giving him carries. Is he going to try to carry the load for the New York Giants? I think the 49ers are a tough team for really anybody because of how they're built. And when you're as efficient as the 49ers are on offense, and then defensively, they're clearly good. And I know there are people that look at the Rams game and think that the 49ers kind of have like this chink in their armor because of all the first half efficiency from Matthew Stafford. I went and watched the all 22, and Matthew Stafford was just good. He was just really good. I thought that the timing in which he was throwing passes, quick outs underneath, even when there's guys pushed into his lap, he did a terrific job. Like, he got the ball out. There were some plays where I was looking, I'm like, man, is it something with the defense? Like, are they lacking somewhere? And then I was just watching the way that Matthew Stafford was playing. I'm like, damn, he's just hella good. And I thought, and again, I could be wrong, but I thought that Matthew Stafford was going to take a step back. He's a little washed. That's what you're hearing. He was hurt last year, and maybe this year is just not going to be great. Count the Rams out. You watch all 22, Matthew Stafford's cooking. Now, obviously, he threw 2 interceptions. One probably wasn't put on him. It hit the guy in the chest, bounced in the air. 49ers got it. The other one, Diamond Lenore made a great play undercutting the ball. But Matthew Stafford looked like Matthew Stafford. Daniel Jones is not Matthew Stafford throwing the football. All right. Daniel Jones is not going to challenge the 49ers secondary the same way. I think there is an opportunity to play more zone, and you're going to have to play more zone because Daniel Jones, if he ain't throwing the ball, he can take off and run. So teams that want to play more zone against him, I think that's probably better. The man teams, he can take off. Now, he didn't have as much success against the Dallas Cowboys, and they've kind of predicated their team playing more man-to-man defense. Man-to-man defense, everybody has their back turned to the quarterback. You just have more opportunities to kind of take off and pick up chunk yardage, which Daniel Jones will do that. The 49ers have had trouble in the past stopping running quarterbacks, and I think that's still that narrative is still out there. How true is it to this day? Like, I don't know, because Matthew Stafford, he ain't really taking off for a bunch of yards. He's not gonna hurt you on the ground. Kenny Pickett, he is more mobile than a Matthew Stafford, not as mobile as a Daniel Jones, but he's not really trying to take off and really make plays with his legs. Daniel Jones wants to make plays with his legs, like he will. He ran for over 700 yards last year, so that's something to definitely keep an eye on. With how do they how disciplined are they in the run game, in their responsibilities on zone and read options? Because I feel like 49ers, they're very undisciplined with that. Now, when you expect it from a guy like Daniel Jones, maybe everybody's just they're on and they're gonna be on their P's and Q's. They game plan for it big time this week, and they really want to slow it down. That's a big point of emphasis. That's gonna be the one thing I definitely look at. But uh, with Daniel Jones, he's a little tricky. He's a little tricky because he can be streaky. He has the ability, he has the arm talent. I don't know how good he is. I think last year, watching him in the first year with Brian Daboll, it was very reminiscent of Alex Smith's first year with Jim Harbaugh, where it's just like, all right, we're going to lean on the run game. Just try not to lose the game for us. And you saw them kind of pick up, and it was like, oh, they're a playoff team. Oh, man, they beat the Minnesota Vikings, and then they got clobbered in the second round. But I thought this year you would see them open up more, and we have not quite seen that yet. So hopefully it's not a Thursday night game where they start to open up more. I think the 49ers could definitely make things a little tough on him. I see a lot of people saying take the under on all their stats and numbers and this game too. The over-under scoring is 44. It's like seems like a lot of points, but if the 49ers score 30 and the Giants only score 13, that's under, So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. The last thing I kind of want to talk on, and then we'll get to y'all early in the chat today. All right, because we didn't get on that all yesterday. And here's the link right here. You guys go ahead, click that link, come on live. But the one thing I want to see is how much the 49ers involve Elijah Mitchell. All right. Elijah Mitchell obviously did not get any carries last week. It feels like 49er fans think this is just going to be a blowout. I just saw Jesus in the chat, and he says this is going to be a boring game. And no football is boring to me unless it's a blowout, and I think that's what he's expecting here. But I don't know. Thursday night games, like a lot of times they're just weird. Like the Thursday night games are weird. So I think this could eventually kind of be a better game than people expect, but it is tough because when you look at the 49ers and how teams are going to match up with them, good on offense, good on defense. They score a lot of points on offense. They don't give up a lot of points on defense. Like it's a big time battle. Now, again, Elijah Mitchell, what's his usage going to be? I've been very vocal about how I feel like the 49ers are damn near running Christian McCaffrey into the ground. If Christian McCaffrey has 23 carries or touches like he did last game, okay, whatever. But Elijah Mitchell better have 5-6 touches. Jordan Mason better have 3-4 touches, all right? I don't see how Christian McCaffrey's getting 23 touches and no one else touching the rock, aside from Deebo Samuel, which now you got Deebo Samuel getting 11 touches, 5 of them which were rushes. All right, one was, I still feel like it was a pass, and there's some screens in there, getting them out on the edge, doing those things, maybe trying to keep them out of harm's way. But the more you have guys that are running into those big bodies on defense, the more you open yourself up to injury. And we don't know when it's going to happen. You look at running backs around the league. That's why they're not paying guys a lot of money. They don't want to pay guys. There was a tweet that resurfaced. I want to say, was it Coach Yak? Was it the Yak guy on Twitter? All right, but there was a tweet that resurfaced, and he's like, wow, I can't believe the 49ers got a C- on the grade when they traded for Christian McCaffrey. And it's like, well, I 100% can see why the 49ers got a C-. One, the running back position, okay, so you got to separate the two. Christian McCaffrey as a player and then the value of running backs. All right. So you got to separate the two. Christian McCaffrey as a player, the value of running backs. The 49ers got a C- because of the value of running backs and what they gave up. And I would say from that standpoint, I don't know if I'll go C-, but I understand the grading. Now, if I just want to be a fan, right? I'm just a fan. I'm just a 49er fan. And I look at the trade, it's an A+. He makes the 49ers better. If I look at it from the standpoint of using all the context into trading for Christian McCaffrey, I can understand why somebody gave it a lower grade. Look, you got to remember, Christian McCaffrey, the previous 2 years before joining the 49ers last year, he played a grand total of 10 games. He played 3 games 1 year, 7 games the other year. All right. Now, there's some people that say, well, he only played this amount because, he was hurt or whatever. They didn't want, they didn't really have anything to play for. I don't know. But all I know is he played 10 games in over a 2-year span. And then one thing that we do know about running backs is they get hurt, right? So you look at Saquon Barkley, you look at Josh Jacobs, you look at Nick Chubb. Their teams did not want to pay them. They didn't want to pay them, right? So those teams didn't want to pay them. They had to fight nail and tooth to get like $1 million more. Then next thing you know, damn near 2 out of 3 of those guys are on the injury report right now. Chubb, I mean, who knows when he's going to play again, right? And that's just the nature of the beast at the running back position. Trading for Christian McCaffrey, the player, and giving up a second round pick, a third round pick, a fourth round pick, a fifth round pick, and you have to pay him over $12 million a year over the following 2 years or whatever it is. Like, so like this year or next year or whatever it is, like that is a lot for a running back who, again, only played 10 games combined the previous 2 years. And running backs get hurt, and the older they get, they start to slow down. So it has been a great pick in the sense of the player, and has worked out tremendously for the 49ers. But seeing someone give a poor grade on the trade, the execution of it, I understand. 49ers just willing to give up more than anyone else, and it's made them really good. How much of a difference have we seen within the team in the sense of how far they go? Now, maybe it's because Brock Purdy got hurt, and that could be the case. But I thought the 49ers offense ran the ball well with Elijah Mitchell. I think the 49ers are definitely better with Christian McCaffrey. Like there's no doubt about that. But I understand the kind of the poor grade. And the thing I don't understand is the 49ers continuing to run CMC into the ground. And I say run him into the ground because it's just like running backs here hurt. Just please give somebody else some carries. So I'm going to be watching for that. I wish they had on Underdog Fantasy a higher lower on the amount of carries that Christian McCaffrey, or not Christian McCaffrey, excuse me, Elijah Mitchell would get. Got my guy here in the chat. He says, Croc, you need to tell Underdog Fantasy their app is janky and it looks like it's from a warlord in the Sudan. They need to do a lot of work on their site. Everyone offers 100% up to $100 or 100 these days. Well, guess what? I don't really care about what the app looks like. Oh, no, it looks cool to me. The app look crazy to y'all? Let's see. Pull it up. I don't know. It's simple. I like simple. I like straight to the point. It's simple and straight to the point. You see all Daniel Jones lines right here. So, I don't know. I like that. And right now, and I hear you, everyone offers up to 100%, up to $100. But guess what? Underdog Fantasy is offering up to $500. Now, who's doing that? Who is doing that? Who is doubling your deposit up to $500? Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Let's go. All right, we got some people coming in. First and foremost, man, appreciate everybody's in right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. We got Case 49 in here. Case, good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, Croc. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm chilling. I'm hungry. I've been on this fast right now. I started yesterday. I told myself I'm going to do 2 or 3 days. I don't know if I'm going to last much longer, but I did yesterday. I've only had water. See, I got the big jug of water right here. I'm only drinking water. I might continue it, but I don't know. But aside from being a little hungry, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. That's crazy. I was actually raised Muslim, man. So I used to fast growing up, and I do the intermittent fasting sometime, what I mean, every now and again. I don't really do it as much anymore though. But that's good, man. It's good for you, man. Keep you healthy. What I mean, for sure.
Yeah. Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, I'm hype about this Giants game, man. You know what I mean? Like, I hate the Giants, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm over here in VA, so I'm in on the East Coast. My pops is a Giants fan. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey, so my pops is a Giants fan. My girl, she's from Brooklyn. She's a Giants fan. You know what I mean? So it's going to be kind of crazy tonight. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like I didn't forget what they did. Back in what was it, 2011,
11?
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I'm still kind of tight about that. I kind of feel like what I'm saying, they got away with that championship game off of technicality. That was our 6 right there. You know what I mean? So
You
I
remember
feel
one
like
thing
we
we
should
forget
go.
about that game outside of the fumbles by Kyle Williams, but the 49ers forced that fumble.
Right.
Do you remember that when they called, like, they blew the whistle on forward progress, which was crazy because the ball got ripped out right away. 49ers recovered in scoring position, and they gave the ball back to the Giants, and you couldn't even review it because they said that it's for progress to stop, and it clearly wasn't. Everybody forgets that play, but that was probably the. I mean, we talk about
Oh
the Kyle
man,
Williams stuff, but that play
yeah.
was probably the biggest. I mean, it was. Go back and watch and look at that play. It's ridiculous
Yeah,
how
I'm
they
gonna have
screwed
to
that
go
up.
back. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I don't remember that play. I remember the two Kyle Williams fumbles and giving Eli the ball, in like on the 20-yard line, and them going ahead and scoring for the win. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like he fumbled twice in that game. But yeah, man. So we can't show no mercy to these Giants, man. Like I don't care who they got out. We got to put their foot on their neck and what I'm saying, blow them out. We already seen what the Giants did against the Eagles and what they did against the Cowboys. Like we got to blow them out. If we feel like we on the same competitive level with the Cowboys and the Eagles, we got to do the Giants the same way they've been doing them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's how I feel about tonight's game, man. Because it's like every game, it's a conference game. This week it's a divisional game. Next week, then you got the Cowboys after that. That could have implications for home field advantage. Could be like a preview of the championship game. So it's like all these games have a lot of value right now. What I mean? If we want that number one seed, I feel
How do you
like
feel
Shannon.
about that? I was going to ask you, how do you feel about the New York Giants? Because I feel like, kind of the vibe I'm getting from 49 fans, just like, just going to run through them. But, this is a team that went to playoffs last year. Do you think that they are potentially kind of turning that corner? Or do you think, like, nah, like what we saw from them with the Dallas Cowboys and how the Cowboys just blasted them,
Man,
like, that's them. The team that was down big in the first half against the Arizona Cardinals, like, that's them. Like, what are your thoughts on the New York Giants?
like they've been bad for so long. Like ever since that Super Bowl, they've been pretty bad for so long. It's like I kind of look at them as like little brother team because I do have so many family members who are fans of the team. You know what I mean? So they kind of like a little brother team to me right now, and I've been kind of like waiting for them to turn that corner to make some noise ever since last season. Like I thought they was going to make noise last season. Like when they beat the Vikings in the playoffs, and then they got to the Eagles. Like I was so excited for the Giants to beat the Eagles that game. You know what I mean? Like I was hoping they would do something then, but they was just disappointing. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't do anything, couldn't move the ball. When they played the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, could not move the ball against the Cowboys. And then they turned back around this season, game one, and you get blown out 40-0. It's like I want to believe in them, but they keep proving me wrong. They keep proving to me that they suck. Like you let Josh Dobbs get up 27-7 or 20-0 on you. Like I can't help. They're proving to me that they not good. I want to believe in them, but they just proving me wrong. And it's just, it's crazy. But I did want to touch on the CMC getting too many touches, man. I feel like Shanahan is one of the most paranoid coaches in the league. You know what I mean? He gets real antsy. He gets real nervous. You know what I mean? That's why certain people can't get on the field. That's why he rolls with people that he trusts, things like that. And I think that's really what's going on right now. I think Shanahan is just being
Has
super
Elijah Mitchell
paranoid.
showed us that he can't be trusted though? Like, what's the issue with not figuring out how to get him on the field and get him to rock?
He's scared to not let. He's scared to have CMC on the bench when they on offense. He's scared something bad is going to happen if CMC is not in there. You know what I mean? He's scared to. I don't know. If that's saying something about how he feels about Brock, but he's not as confident in the offense without CMC on the field. And it's like Elijah Mitchell. You know what I mean? Isn't this his contract year?
I believe he has one more year because this is his third year, so fourth year would be his contract year.
His fourth year. Oh, okay, okay. But yeah, he needs some touches, man. You know what I mean? Like he spent most of last year injured. We already seen how talented he can be. And, for Shanahan to say that, yeah, we're gonna, well, I don't know if Shanahan said it, but it kind of came out that they was planning to, not overuse CMC before the season started. And then they're doing the exact opposite. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. You got TDP on the team. He can't even get dressed. Like, why is
Right.
why is he using the roster spot, man? But
But you
at the
never
same,
know when the back goes down. 49ers have gone through a lot of backs. I think for me is more so if you are, and I see like in the chat right now, Niner Gang Tay says 22 rushes for CMC in week one, 20 for CMC in week two. And my thing is, like I don't mind the touches as long as you're telling me other guys are getting touches too. Like I think that
right,
like that should be the difference between how many touches he gets or doesn't get, right? So like
yeah,
uh Elijah Mitchell ran the ball 5 times against the Steelers. I
yeah,
would I would rather CMC get 22 rushes instead of 27 because Mitchell got 5. You feel me?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
now, if it's a game where, like even like last game, he had 20 carries for 20 carries for CMC, and all right, 20 carries, but Elijah Mitchell gets none. I feel like Elijah Mitchell should
right,
get at least 4. So then all right, CMC, you only got 16. I just feel like those carries, like they're just always going to add up, especially if you're not getting somebody else to rock. And
yeah,
every time he carries the ball, it opens himself up for some type of awkward hit, some type of awkward landing. So if you can eliminate that by 5 to 6 to 7 snaps per game,
yeah,
just that even the opportunity or chance for him to go down with an injury, I would do it. That's kind of been my biggest gripe. And I mean, listen, we're talking about an offense that's cooking right now. We're talking about an offense that's scoring over 30 points a game with Brock Purdy at quarterback. We're talking about an offense that's heavily dependent on what Chris McCaffrey gives them. So I understand that. And if you're telling me, well, it's going to take Chris McCaffrey to really keep this offense afloat, it's like I understand what his what he is to the offense, but man, you got to figure out a different way because Elijah Mitchell, outside of being hurt, he's reliable as a runner. So that's what I meant, LKV. I didn't mean
yeah.
that Elijah Mitchell uh, is reliable in the sense of staying on the field. Hell no, he's always hurt. But
But yeah,
he ain't hurt right
but
now.
like I'm saying, like, but you have people in case he does get hurt. You have other backs who can come in, backs that you have on the team that's not even dressed right now, in case Mitchell does get hurt. And it's not like you don't trust him because when Mostert went down in 2021, you know, Mitchell did his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he almost got 1,000 yards that season. Like you ran him into the ground. So we know that you trust him. We know that you can win with him. So why are you so nervous to have this offense play without CMC on the field? Like I don't know, man. It's just strange, but you know what I mean. We'll see what it is, man. It's going to be an exciting season, man. You know what I mean? Because the NFC, I think we got a lot of the 2-0 teams right now in the NFC, right? Yeah, I think so. I kind of lost your sound, man. But
My bad, I was on mute. You said we got a
yeah,
lot of teams in it. Repeat that.
the 2-0 teams right now, most of them are
Oh, a lot of
NFC.
2-0 teams. I looked at the teams. I mean, I didn't really look at. I looked at how many teams were 2-0, and it was like 6, 7 teams or whatever it was. But I didn't look at like which teams. So
Yeah, you got Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, like all 2-0. You know what I mean? I know the Seahawks ain't 2-0, but they had a big win over Detroit. Everybody said Detroit was going to make some noise this year. I don't know, man. Like I think they got lucky week 1, but they're not really looking like the killers everybody thought they was going to be right now. But yeah, man, I think the NFC is going to be very competitive. It's going to be very interesting, man, to see if we can stay healthy and see if Shanahan how he runs the offense. Um, with CMC not in there. You know what I mean? See if he gives him a break and give somebody else a chance, man. But I'm hyped, man. No mercy on these Giants tonight. For
no
real, man.
mercy, man. Appreciate you coming on,
Hey,
Case.
all right, man. I appreciate you, man. Shout out to you, Croc. Appreciate you having me
All
on.
right,
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Peace.
yes, sir. We did have a question here, babe. We got a question for you. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. We got a question from Timmy. He says, "Does your wife get excited about game day? Is she a 49ers fan too?"
Um, it depends on excited. Depends on who they're playing.
Okay, she said excited. It depends on who they're playing.
And I'm kind of a 49er fan.
She's kind of a 49er fan.
I was born and raised a Raider fan.
She was born and raised a Raider fan. So, since she's not really into football like that. Listen, they talk about how, people want someone where they have everything in common and everything, but I think it's better when you don't have a whole lot in common. I feel like that kind of balances our relationship out, our marriage out. Right? Would you say that we're like more balanced because we don't have a whole lot in common?
I mean, we do have things in common.
No, I know,
It's
but
not like we don't.
I think when people think of like having things in common is like, oh man, you listen to Jay-Z, I listen to Jay-Z too. Like, people want it to be like hella, like, yeah, hella in sync, and it's like, oh, this person thinks just like me. Like, this is like
Well, the thing is I used to watch like football every weekend, but now I'm a mom and a wife, and so like I don't follow it like I used to.
Yeah.
Same with basketball. I used to follow basketball, but the older I get, the more responsibilities I have, so I'm not able to follow it like you are. And
Right.
so I just kind of go with the flow. But I enjoy watching any sport except for baseball.
You can talk. You want to talk to them?
No, I gotta.
Oh, she has to go. She's a nurse. So Nurse Stevie off to save lives, or I don't even know about saving lives, but yesterday she had to tell people they were dead.
Tell people they were dead.
I mean,
how do you tell a dead person?
I mean, not tell people they were dead. Like,
pronounce them.
She had to pronounce people's death yesterday. So she's off to either save lives or tell people this person ain't coming back. All right, so that's tough. I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. That's tough. Here we go. We got right here the ghost one. After a lead, we should rest the starters. I think it's hard in the NFL to rest starters because it's not like college football. You just there's not as drastic of a difference or drop off in talent in college as opposed to the NFL. So like one team in college could be super stacked, super loaded. In the NFL, everybody's kind of good, so you can get a lead. But if you put in some backups, like the game can change really quick. And I would say the biggest thing in the NFL is not even so much a talent gap; it's like a execution gap. So I think everybody looks at the NFL like, oh man, like, these teams are super loaded, these teams aren't. I think the 49ers are very top heavy, but then they have really good role players as well. I think the 49ers have more like elite players than a lot of other teams, but just in the sense of like players that can, play and compete or whatever, like that part's the same. Who's going to execute better? Like that's what really changes. It makes the biggest difference in the NFL, like, consistently, the execution part of it. Like that's why guys are either starters or backups. This backup probably does not, he's not as consistent with his execution. But typically, if I tell you, hey man, let's watch this defensive back pedal, a starter that back pedals and the back of that back pedals is probably the same. Have these guys run a sprint. Hell, the backup might be faster with a sprint. Have these guys turn and run. Like I could put them through all these tests that might show that the backup is, a better or more fluid. But if he doesn't have it up here and he's not as consistent, then that's kind of the difference. I still have to say it's kind of risky benching starters in the NFL because you don't have a lot of players. But yeah, guys that they could get out, I'm pretty sure they will. All right, here we go. Coming on now, man. We got my guy Gammon. Gammon, how you doing this morning?
Oh man, I'm doing great, Croc. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss the game tonight. My wife and I were going to go see Dave Chappelle. So anybody else?
You going to miss the game?
We bought these tickets. So being married, you try to make sure that you have your date nights in order and everything like that. And so
100%. My wife and I, we went to we had a date night. We just drove to the Bay Area last week and stayed like in a hotel out there, for the night and everything like that. So I get it. I understand. But my wife knows, like, my wife knows how you doing. Like, if the 49ers are on, well, it's my job. Like, I have to, locked on 49ers, come at you 5 days a week. I got to watch the game. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity. Anyone else in Tennessee, I don't know if anyone else is it's going to be hard because I'm going to check my phone for the 49ers, but I already know it's probably going to be a blowout. Shout out to your wife. My wife is from Oakland, so she too is a Raiders fan. So
where are you from?
So originally it was from San Jose, and then my family moved down to Sacramento, and then from Sacramento, then I joined the Army, and that's why I'm over here stationed in Fort Campbell right now.
Oh, okay. Where at in San Jose? My family's from San Jose.
So I'm having kind of like a little bit of a brain fart right now, but
I mean, you might have lived there when you were really young. I spent most of my younger years living in San Jose. But then my grandparents never moved. So it was like, even as an adult, I always, kind of went back to that same house until they finally sold their house when they retired like 2 years ago. But we grew up on the east side. Like my mom went to Mount Pleasant High School. My dad
Okay.
went to Mount Pleasant High School. My brother went to Mount Pleasant High School.
Oh wow.
My brother went to Quimby Oak Elementary. I went to Cedar Grove. So, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I did live in San Jose for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to all the Stockholmeyer Panda Bears and stuff like that, and then you have the Fremont Cardinals and everything.
Yeah.
But what I did want to say was, I think part of the reason why I think us as like 49ers fans, I don't want to say like are overlooking the Giants, but why we think that we're going to kind of blow out the Giants is because and Dable, right? We keep forgetting that he was the coach of the year last year. Like we have the defensive player of the year. Dable was the coach of the year last year, and I think for them to have any kind of chance, he really needs to throw the kitchen sink at this team. And my thing is that I just don't think they have enough preparation time to make sure that they're as militant as they need to be to practice a lot of some of those like tricky kind of moves that really require good timing and everyone being on the same page. Especially when I watched the Locked On 49ers Giants, she said like basically they didn't have any walkthroughs. So I'm just thinking right there,
They did have walkthrough. They didn't have any like real.
mean,
They didn't have a real practice.
that's what I meant. Sorry. So yes, I just don't. I just don't think they're going to be quite as 10 toes down on that as the 49ers are going to be. The other thing too is this is going to sound a little bad, a little conceited, but I think that even if Brock Purdy wasn't starting, we had Sam Darnold in. Even if CMC wasn't starting and Elijah Mitchell was starting, I still think that we would win. Just because for all those reasons, they don't have enough time to prepare for us. And I think Elijah Mitchell will get 100 yards rushing against the Giants. And when we beat the Rams last week, we did that after we were losing the time of possession battle.
The 49ers, actually, if you look at the box score, you do a little box score, they actually kind of lost. 49ers lost every battle except for the one that matters most, which is obviously the points and then the turnovers. So the 49ers won the turnover battle. I think that was a big difference. But passing yards, maybe not rushing yards, but like passing yards, time of possession, penalties, a lot of the things were either in the Rams' favor or very close for the most part.
Absolutely.
Except for rushing, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And so that I kind of saw that. But yeah, and the other thing too is I'm looking at this, and I don't know if you came away with the same impression as I did. Shout out to Don't Bother Me. I see your comment, man. That's funny. And what up, Terradome? But I did want to say this. I'm not sure if you kind of got the same impression as I did, but it feels like the 49ers on offense and defense haven't hit their full stride yet. Like it seems like kind of like an effortless, 30 points when the defense needs to just really just, put on the brakes on teams defensively. It seems to do it, but it in an odd way. I don't want to say it's like we're just sleepwalking through wins, but it just doesn't seem like. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like both sides are in the perfect rhythm, and we still haven't seen everything that these teams have to offer. But I wasn't sure if you kind of felt the same way. And yeah, I mean that's. I'm not sure if.
No, I'm listening to you. My wife, she over here talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are probably saying your goodbyes and everything.
She was telling me, she was asking if I was drinking out of it. She was like, "Is this your water?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh, I was using that." I'm like, there's one in the fridge for y'all.
Have you ever tried alkaline water?
Babe, do you drink alkaline water?
I prefer just electrolyte water, not necessarily alkaline. I don't like the taste of alkaline.
Yeah, alkaline's a little bit different. Yeah, electrolyte water. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be drinking that much water, maybe some electrolyte water, so that way you don't totally flush yourself out. But yeah, I mean that's really all I wanted to say. Also, too, I know this is kind of a rough take for other 49ers fans to hear.
Okay, I have to print something.
But I do kind of wonder what would have happened if the 49ers didn't make that trade for Christian McCaffrey. It's hard to tell any 49ers fan that it was a bad trade after seeing what we're seeing right now. But what picks did we give up? We gave up like a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, right? And then still had to pick.
I don't think it's sixth. I think it stopped at a fifth, and it was like a next year fifth.
Next year fifth. And so when I look at some of the holes that we have on this team, what if we would have spent that second rounder on another like offensive lineman, third round pick? That may not have mattered the way the 49ers kind of drafted in the third round. But I mean, when you kind of look at it that way, what are some things that you think that the 49ers could have did differently, or would you have liked to have seen them done differently with that extra 12 to 16 million in cap room this year? And then with those extra investment in picks, or are you kind of like, hey, as long as Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, he's on pace to lead the NFL in rushing yards. Is this kind of like this? You really couldn't have got any better than this.
I think as long as he stays healthy, you don't even think about what could have been with anything else. I think Christian McCaffrey's biggest impact or the biggest like worry would have like when you made the trade, it's can you keep him healthy? Like as long as he's healthy, like that was always at least my caveat, right? It's like, oh yeah, like one of the best running backs in the league, as long as he's healthy. Oh man, he's a great fit for the 49ers, as long as he's healthy. And as far as the trade goes, like you just know backs get hurt. So between that and then the money, I think that was a bigger part of it, right? Like you talked about, $12+ million a year that, he's on the books for, how would you have allocated that throughout the rest of the roster, to continue to build around Brock Purdy? So it's not really something I think about, like what would this team look like without him or what added pieces? Would they be slightly better in certain areas? Maybe, but what's the gap between Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey? Like how big is that gap from a production standpoint, from the way that Kyle Shanahan sees fit to utilize his offense, and it feels like he took a swing for someone who is a perfect fit for everything that he wants to do. And he's able to manipulate the defenses much more with this type of player. So, draft picks, they would have been, it was going to be a late second round pick, a late third round pick, a late fourth round pick, regardless. Right. So I don't, and then it's also still unknown players. So you don't even know if they're going to be like good. We've seen the 49ers draft a lot of guys, second round, third round, fourth round, that just like stink. So I don't care so much about the draft picks. It's really more so about the money and then him staying healthy. Because I think they just restructured his contract or something, right?
Yes.
So like he's gonna be he's gonna be on the books, and you just have to make sure that you keep this guy healthy. Now, the way to keep him healthy is, can you throw in Elijah Mitchell a little bit, a guy who I think is a good back? Like just mix him in. I saw someone say, "Well, Debo got some carries too." Yeah, well, I'm scared of that too, because the more time you have him running the ball into guys like, and we've seen Debo. There's always these minor little things that make him miss a couple games here, then miss a couple games here, and miss some games there. Like we want to keep him fresh. The freshest he's going to be is not having to take a pounding on the outside. So, or running in the middle. I mean, So
I did get a little nervous with Debo last week when it looked like he had that back injury, because then all of a sudden I was like, man, Ayuk just went down, and then you saw Debo kind of off to the sideline, and then he was kind of nursing his back. So to your point, we do kind of have that injury bug. So I did get a little worried with that, but absolutely.
Yeah,
so you can't overuse both those guys. So we have to kind of flex that in. When you're
I have a question.
Okay.
Like, how close do you get to, or where do you take the hit, right? Risking the injury that may never happen, or and potentially sacrificing some efficiency in your offense, right? Like that. So that's the question. And that's probably the question that Kyle has asked himself. All right. Is he risking, like, Kyle thinks that injuries are flukish as opposed to a wear and tear thing. Like that's the sense I get from him, which I'd actually say, you know what? I agree. That's why my thing has always been, or has been, the more you run him, just the more you open up the opportunity. So if I can take out 10 plays of McCaffrey potentially getting hurt, but am I sacrificing some efficiency within the run game? Right? Now, my what I would say to that is both Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason averaged over 6 yards per carry last year. So it's not like they're like incapable backs. Like they can play. So I wish that Kyle would figure out a way to do that. And I see the chat too. Like I do think Kyle did a good job on some of the runs with Debo of getting him outside on the edge, but it just scares me, right? Like the areas he gets tackled in and the areas that Brandon Ayuk get tackled in are drastically different. So even if you're getting Debo Samuel on the edge, you still got all these big bodies flying in. Like they're throwing screens to him, throwing it to the, it's on the edge, but these guys are pursuit. that, you know, you got linebackers, they're flowing. Like, you're getting hit a different way than your typical receiver who's getting more so tackled. And a lot of times it's one guy, or maybe two, but it's, you know, they're DBs as opposed to linebackers and defensive linemen pursuing. So it's still, even if they're getting him those touches on the outside, he's not running into the middle like maybe a McCaffrey, but it's still, it just scares me. It just scares me. So I just, you know, I could be paranoid with it because I've seen like both of these guys be banged up, and I don't want to imagine the offense without the two of them at the same time. Like, I
Exactly.
don't, you know, I kind of know what it looks like, but you're not as good. You are when you have Debo and you have Christian McCaffrey, you are the scariest offense in the league, right? With everything else, with Kyle Shanahan, with Brock Purdy, the way he's cooking, like, you're the scariest offense. So you take away Debo, you take away Ayuk. I don't want that offense. So how can we keep them? How can we limit the opportunities of them potentially getting hurt, even though there's no guarantee that they get hurt? You know,
I don't know, and I really like what LKV said here. His last comment: CMC is cursed with being good at everything, including pass pro, and that was actually going to be my next point. As far as when you're talking about which you said, Croc, you said, you know, when you take CMC out of the game, you could be suffering a lot of your efficiency, and that was something. Whenever we talk about Michael Jordan, the first thing everyone talks about is just, oh, how great he is at offense and scoring the ball, but we don't always talk about how great he was at defense or how amazing he was at passing the ball. I think some of his assists were just absolutely disgusting and dirty. When we talk about CMC, and to your point, efficiency, the offense with the efficiency, it's also too with the pass protection. As great as he is at receiving, as great as he is at rushing, when you put on the all 22 and you look at the tape, the blitzes and everything else that he picks up have just been absolutely stunning. I think he's the best blocking running back that we've had since Frank Gore. And I always felt like that was a very underrated part of Frank Gore's game, is just how he's able to stifle, was just absolutely able to stifle blockers. I did want to ask you this one question before I head off of here. Who do you think has a better chance of kind of a breakout game? And I don't know if this is something you could pull up on Underdog Fantasy, but I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna hop off here. But who do you think is gonna have more chance of a breakout game here? Do you think Bosa, he's gonna have his coming out kind of home game coming out here, or do you think like, hey, this is Kittle's time to shine, because they don't really have time to prepare for all these weapons? It almost would seem like in a vacuum. In a perfect case, this could be Kittle's time to shine too. But on the other side, right, the Giants are missing some tackles, which would just seem like a great opportunity for Bosa to kind of get his feet wet and get his reps in. Thank you very much for your time, Croc. And as always, go Niners. Light the beam, baby.
light the beam. All right, that's speaking like a true Sacramento Kings fan. As far as the question goes, I don't know. For me, the biggest thing is just, again, keep mixing Elijah Mitchell. Like, that's the biggest thing for me. 49ers they're so good and everywhere. It's really hard to find holes in this 49ers team. Hard to find holes in their offense. Hard to find laps in the defense. They still haven't given up like the big explosive plays. I think they're going to do a good job consistently of kind of eliminating those type of opportunities. This Giants game is going to be interesting. But as far as George Kittle, can it be a big breakout for George Kittle? I hope so. And this is why. Hold on. Let me share my screen with you. So Underdog Fantasy has this new thing where they're like, I call them pepper picks. I don't even know what they're called. But basically, each one of these picks is worth way more than a normal pick, right? So I did, and you can see this if you're subscribed. You see on my if you're one of my subscribers, you can see this. But I don't think that these things are going to happen, but hey, they might happen, right? So can Daniel Jones get a rushing touchdown? Can George Kittle get a rushing or receiving touchdowns? Can Darren Waller get one? Can Debo get a receiving touchdown? Matt Breida, can he score? I just need 4 out of 5 of these to hit. If all 5 hit, and this is insured. If all 5 hit, boom, I come up $500. If 4 out of 5 hit, I still get $230, and we're talking about off of $10. All right. So it's insured. So if it was not insured, it would be actually $1,000 if all these happen. I don't expect all these to happen, but can I get 4 out of 5 of them to happen? All right. That's underdog fantasy. And obviously I need George Kittle to score. All right. I feel like that game is coming. That opportunity for George Kittle to score, get in the red zone. 49ers are going to consistently get there. They haven't really found him. And if you go back to last year when he kind of got hot with Brock Purdy, a lot of it was kind of like, I don't think it was like we're going to George Kittle here. It felt a little bit more like off script. Oh, let me hit him in the back of the end zone here. Let me extend the play and hit him here. So can they continue that? We'll see. That's going to be a big thing, though. That's going to be a big thing, though. Appreciate everybody in the chat right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got Terry Dome in the chat. He says CMC in-season trade was the best 49er trade since Fred Dean. I'm not old enough to remember, the trade for Fred Dean, but I think the way that CMC has impacted the 49ers, it's been tremendous. Now, trading for Fred Dean, I think he helped the 49ers win some Super Bowls. I think this is going to be big if that comes to reality for the 49ers. We got Jesse Rodriguez here. He says, guys can get hurt anytime, even in practice. I'm sure this team will adjust as needed. There was a player that just got hurt in practice, a hamstring. Right, a hamstring. Who was it? Stingley from the Texans. I just saw that. So definitely, look, in football, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get banged up. My thing is limiting, at least what I've been talking about, limiting those opportunities for it to happen. Can you kind of limit it? There's no guarantee. Well, you see a lot of guys now, like they're not even playing in preseason. Why? The risk of injury. And, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times it doesn't. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they played a lot of guys in preseason. There weren't any significant injuries to their starters, but there very well could have been, right? So, my thing is just, 5 more carries a game. We're talking about, over the entirety of a season, or 5 less carries for Christian McCaffrey over the entirety of a season. Like, how many less opportunities is that to not get hit? 100? Whatever it is, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing the number out there, but let's say 10 games, that would be 50. So close to 100. All right. That's 100 less opportunities to get hit. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But of course, I understand how much better the 49ers are with Christian McCaffrey. We got Steve in the chat. He says, Croc, I know it's early, but the trade deadline is approaching. What position would you like to see the 49ers trade for? Ooh, that's a good one. Right now, it feels like corner, because I think they truly want to play Lenoir in the slot. And I don't think they can count on Ambry Thomas. We'll see how they play. And they probably play well. But if you told me at the trade deadline, hey, man, you can get, you can trade a first for a stud, right? Like where a team is just unloading a guy, or a third for a guy that's like, hey, this is a good guy, but you're going to have to re-sign him, but you can get him right now for a third. Give me a good outside corner that a team just might be unloading because maybe they don't want to pay him, or they're in the whole fire sale and they're just getting rid of guys. Like, give me a good corner, a guy that can start on the outside. I ain't even saying he got to be like great, but just good corner. So you can, if it feels like the vision of the 49ers that they have is Lenoir in the slot, Ward on the outside, and then who is going to be that guy to hold it down on the outside on the opposite of Ward, right? So give me a stud corner. Croc, and I know corners are hard. Like, it's hard to get like good coverage guys. I understand that. Croc, what do they see when they start Ambry? I've never seen it. I don't know. And the tough thing is, I give everybody a chance to develop, right? And we've watched them a lot now. And it's been tough, especially this year, right? Because I feel like this year has been probably the most confidence that they've shown in him. But he got yanked in the first half of the Steelers game, and then he got hurt first half of the Rams game. So I would like to just kind of see, like, okay, what exactly are they looking at to where it's like they just really like him? I haven't seen anything that jumped off the screen yet. So I'll continue to look, and then maybe we'll know if he can stay healthy over a stretch of games. We got bubbly Doge in the chat. Like, of course, Croc goes DB. Look, I actually kind of stay. I typically stay away from the corners. I think it's such a difficult position to play. I look at guys and you see them really go up and down. I really want to go pass rush. I'm really like, man, let's go load up on pass rush. But I think they're good there with some of the guys. I don't know if there's somebody you can get at the deadline for pass rush. But corner, I feel like, is the one spot on this entire team. I would say, I'm not very confident at the right guard position. All right, and we'll see. I want to root for Spencer Burford. I want to see him continue to do well, but I'm not 100%. So we'll see how it continues to play out. But if you told me 49ers traded for a right guard or an outside corner at the trade deadline, I'd be happy about that. Daniil Hunter at the trade deadline, I'd be happy about that. All right, here we go, man. I forgot to do this. We're giving away $50 Underdog Fantasy. So right now, what I need y'all to do, if you have Underdog Fantasy, go put your username in the chat right now. Username, I'm giving away $50. We're going to get that plugged into your account. All right, $50 to Underdog Fantasy. If you don't have it, download the app right now or go to underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code Karaki, and they will double your deposit up to $500. Not the $100 you see right here below. Up to $500, they'll double your deposit, because we for sure finna get into some making some money. I made over $1,000 last week. We're going to make over $1,000 this week. Let's keep it rolling. All right. But Underdog Fantasy, put your stuff in the chat right now. I'll close my eyes and pick a random person. All right. So let's get it, man. Put your Underdog Fantasy usernames in the chat. Where's my pen at? My wife come over here messing with stuff, man. Throwing me all off. All right. I don't even know where my pen is at, but can I use this, whatever this is? All right, I'll use this. I don't even know what this is. I need a real pen now. All right, but put your Underdog Fantasy usernames in the chat, and we're going to get some money sent to you on Underdog. Let's go, man. Let's go. What is this? Oh. All right, here we go. I got my handy dandy pen ready to go. All right. Hope everybody's doing good. Which gambling was legal in Texas? So the way Underdog works, is Underdog not in Texas? I'm thinking. I travel a lot. I've done Underdog in a lot of different states. I know for sure can't do it in Vegas. I know that for sure. Vegas, they all them apps done. Can't use them. No Underdog Fantasy in Texas, huh? That's crazy. Because the Underdog Fantasy is different than like a sportsbook app. Like who has the sportsbook? What's that? Goddamn. Yeah, man, y'all know what I'm trying to say, man. Them are the sportsbook apps. So Underdog Fantasy is different. Now, Arkansas is interesting. They don't allow like FanDuel, right? Like, so you got FanDuel. Arkansas doesn't allow FanDuel, but they do allow Underdog Fantasy, because technically that's why they tell me I can't use words like over, under, prop, like player props. I'm not supposed to use those words, because technically Underdog Fantasy isn't betting or gambling. Technically it's not. Here we go. Underdog is legal in Texas. Okay, it is legal. Yeah, I thought so. So I'll give y'all a few more minutes. Anybody that has Underdog Fantasy, put your username in the chat right now. And yeah, here we go. We got Mark here. He says, I'm in DeSoto, Texas. I hit for $160 last week. $160. Let's go. And him for $160, what'd you put? $8 down? You feel me? You can do it, and you can use Underdog Fantasy in California, but California, you can't use like a sportsbook app. So you can't use like FanDuel. I go to the casino. They don't have. Think about going to the casino today. I might have a little too much I got going on though, but they don't have. They don't have sports books in the casino. It's stupid. My brother uses Bravado. All right, here we go. Everybody in? Everybody got their usernames in? All right, again, if you don't have Underdog Fantasy, go to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Crocky. All right, but here we go. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna scroll through, and I'm just gonna click a name. And if it's a username for Underdog, I'm gonna write that down, and we're gonna get you plugged in. All right, so here we go. I'm scrolling up. I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling up. I'm scrolling down again. All right, I'm scrolling up, and D Mill. Okay, we got Millie Rock. All right, D Mills 917 in the Chizat. You feel me? Let's go. D Mills with a Z 917. All right, D Mills, you are the winner on Underdog Fantasy today. $40 will be deposited. There we go. He's like, let's go. All right. $40. $50 will get deposited into your account. You'll just see it pop up. I'm gonna send them your information right now, and hopefully they get that uploaded for you before the game. All right. Yeah. I need to get on Bravado. My brother told me about that. My big bro. I'm gonna have to get on that. All right. So Millie Rock, there you go, man. Happy birthday. That is a late birthday gift for you. And of course, man, I appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. Hey, we're going hard on Underdog. Follow me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. If you're not a subscriber yet, subscribe to my Twitter account so you can see all my plays on Underdog Fantasy. We finna get after it. I really should do like a they have like weekly leagues and stuff like that. Best ball. We need to get into some of that. Do like a league for this. All right. Anyways, appreciate all y'all, man. Love all y'all. Go Niners. Beat up on the goddamn Giants. Dog them out. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.